I I'm Susan Barth, and I am the founder and president of the nonprofit Together in Happiness, Biahad Baoshar. And we are delighted to invite back those of you who have attended prior webinars, and also to welcome those here for the first time. And of course, we want a special welcome to our guest presenter, Dr. Miriam Adahan. And before I introduce her, for those of you that are not familiar with Together in Happiness, I just want to share a little bit about our organization. We started in 2011, and we're a resource center promoting the awareness, the recognition, and the advocacy for the critical importance of marriage education, marriage enrichment, and coaching. We work with Jewish couples both in Israel and in English-speaking countries, and it doesn't matter whether it's engaged, newlywed, or any stage of marriage. We are happy to work with the couples and individuals. Marriage, for those of you that are not as familiar with the concept of marriage enrichment education, it's not therapy, and it does provide the skills that are associated with happy and healthy marriages. And generally speaking, it concentrates on those areas such as enhanced communication, problem solving, conflict resolution, and how to manage arguments without having and talk without fighting. And who does it benefit? Everyone. Why? Because it benefits society as a whole. And especially, again, focusing on couples, whether engaged, newlyweds, expecting, or married couples up to empty nesters, and also our partners, those in government, rabbis, rebbesons, and all different. But the main thing are the couple. And why? Because, again, the couple is the married couple. And what's in it for the couple is that it teaches basically how to have realistic expectations. It's designed to lower the divorce possibilities, but mainly to focus on the strengths in a relationship and how to form the best bonds, how to maintain during transition periods, those areas, and getting the skills, and mainly to make sure that the marriage lasts forever. And the main part of it, though, is it's part of a family unit. And we also incorporate the family of origin. Why? Because, again, that was the original single who grew up with the values of the family and what they saw, good and bad, in their own family. And good families, generally good marriages, make for good families that with good health, good economics. And we want to make sure that couples learn safety. Why? Because it's about the stability and safety that ensures the family unit. And the benefit is for society as a whole, so that it's among the topics that we also have spent time on is the topic of anger. And that is why this webinar is really designed to focus on the concept of anger. And there is no other expert that I know on this planet that has a unique opportunity to talk about anger, and it's Dr. Miriam Adahan. And she's been teaching counseling and with couples for 60 years and has written more books than I think Amazon can produce, or the other publishers, about understanding people. And a lot in her private work is helping couples overcome abuse. And that gave her also the impetus to help couples with self-awareness and independence. And I've had the privilege to know Dr. Adahan for many years, and my admiration is boundless. So without further ado, Dr. Adahan, thank you for being our presenter.
Thank you, Sarah Susan, for this opportunity. If I can help people, that's all I want in this world, is to help people to live more independent, happy, self-differentiated lives.
And can I interrupt just 1 second? I
Yes.
forgot to mention about question and answer, that if anyone in the audience has a question and answer, to please use the Q&A that is, and instead of the chat, and we will try to address as many questions as come in. So thank you, and thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay, wonderful. So I want to start with saying that the Alter Rebbe, the founder of Chabad Hasidus, was constantly talking about the fact that love can only exist between equals. If one person is trying to dominate or control the other, love cannot exist. It doesn't mean that they don't have different roles. Of course, we have different roles, different talents. We're not equal in our intelligence and our talents, but we have to be equal in our value. So there are people that want to connect. They do want to love. Love means connection, interest, curiosity about the other person. If one is trying to dominate and control, love cannot exist. I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's really true. That's why we're told that the Hanukkah candles are all equal. No candle is above the other except the shamash that wants to give light. You want to inspire? Wonderful. Go inspire people, but feel that you're equal. If you want to control, it's not going to work. Nobody wants to feel controlled, and we can't really control anybody. It's not possible. I like to talk in my classes about the matrix. In the matrix mentality, which this, we're in the Parshat Shemot. In Parshat Shemot, when we in Mitzrayim mentality, what I call the matrix. I never saw the movie, but I love talking about, I use that term to talk about people with a matrix mentality. In a matrix mentality, connections are all about who's on top of whom, where you are on the social status ladder. Okay? It's all about control and competition. Love doesn't exist in that world because the people that are one rung above you want to control you and want to step on your shoulder so that they can feel better. Okay? I know this is hard. But the minute you begin to see who's in the matrix, who's in competition, who's trying to control, and the major control tactics are four. People try to, it's called fogs, Fogs. People in the matrix, this is how they get up. Okay, it's fear, they intimidate, they obligate you. You have to come to my social event or you have to respect it. Everything is about control, fear, obligation, guilt, and shame. And you will see children at the age of 3, 4, 5 doing this. Oh, your hair is so frizzy. Oh, you're wearing those shoes. You hear it? And you can see this with very young children. So the bullies, the people with the bully mentality, and I kind of read that there are people that are born bullies, and they know from 3, 4, like just like birds know how to make a nest, bullies know how to bully, and they bully. They use those four things, and it's good to keep saying to remember FOGS because if somebody's doing this, you can say, do you have an intention to intimidate me, to put me in a state of fear? That if I don't do what you want, you're going to take the children away or take my credit card away, whatever. Do you want me to be scared? Or can you force love? I'm obligated to love and respect you. Is that you can't force the heart. Or do you want me to feel guilty or ashamed that I'm not living up to your standards? Now when you're in the matrix and you're one rung down, you can never please the person that's one rung up. You can try. People try all the time to accommodate and please, and but it's not going to work. When you're inside the matrix, everybody thinks about who's dominating whom. Okay? So it's good to hear what is matrix thinking and how they talk. Okay. Like I had cataract surgery in the summer, and my vision is still blurry. And I went to a doctor on Sunday morning. I decided to see a different professor, okay, to see why am I still blurry when my original, doctor tried different things and nothing works. I went to this professor and he said, "Why are you coming to me?" And I said, "Well, I just wanted a second opinion." And he said, let's say the original doctor is Dr. D. I won't say his name. I said, "Well, I wanted a different opinion about why my vision is still blurry." And he said, "Am I his servant?" I said, "What?" And he said again, he says, "He's not my employer." What is this thinking? What is it? This is a man in his probably his late 60s, 70s, and he's talking. I saw right away, okay, that's matrix thinking. Who's dominating whom? Who's one rung up? He's not connecting from the heart. I'm upset that my vision is still blurred after going through this in the summer. Why is he talking to me about, am I using him? It was so weird. Kids will say this. I'm not going to pick up my stuff. Am I your servant? Okay. Kids will use this when they're in the matrix thinking. It's like Paro. And there's these little Paros, one on top of the other, one Paro and another Paro and another Paro. And they could be 3 years old. I've seen 3, 4 year olds. I've had, like kindergarten teachers tell me that a kid will come in the morning, a 4 year old or 5 year old said, "You can play with her, but you can't play with her." And then they'll start, "Oh, those are your shoes? Oh, they're so nerdy." Oh, when they get to be teenagers, oh my God, what happens with teenagers and the matrix and the people who have to one up? So what is that matrix world? It's a world where people are creating illusions. Supposedly Paro was 18 inches high or something. I don't know. Okay. But he had, he just, how could he dominate a whole nation? Okay. They're very clever, these Paros, and I don't care if they're 3 or 30 or 90, but they dominate using those four things. They make you scared, they intimidate, will put you in jail. If you don't, I don't know, if you fight Putin or you fight, the head of the North Korea, or you fight the system and look at what's happening in Iran. If you have a difference of opinion, you'll be killed. And if you're, like a little kid and you wear the wrong shoes or the wrong kippah or the wrong this or that, you're thrown out. You don't have any value anymore. So this world of the matrix, and we all get sucked into it as kids because we worship like the people who are charismatic, the ones at the ones who have confidence and charisma. The bullies do. And it's been very well researched that bullies have higher status. They usually control the money. They're popular. Look at all the influencers. Look at, I don't know, I want to talk about that island where all the princes and kings and presidents and all they all went. Okay. It's like, but they have the influence and the power, the confidence. They're usually beautiful. They're usually very attractive. And we're all like in awe of them, like Paro. They have a huge influence over our mind. So I want to help people recognize who are these people, these matrix people who put us down, master put downers. Okay. Who are they and how do they talk? And I want you to recognize their language, their speech. Like the minute I heard that professor talking about, am I in his employment? Oh, okay. Bye bye. I'll find somebody else with some heart. Okay. So that's what I do. I don't argue. I don't fight with them. They're in a different world. When you hear somebody using matrix language, okay, they come into your house. You can usually feel it right away. Oh, you read that magazine? Oh, it's so superficial. Or, oh, you watch that? Oh my goodness. Oh, I thought you were really religious, and now I see that you're not. And it's all these put downs, and it's like you freeze. You do feel intimidated. And the more they put you down, and the more you react. Now, this is the big thing you need to know. When you react emotionally to somebody in the matrix, they get a hit of dopamine. So remember this. If you get angry at them, they're very pleased. It means they were able to control your emotions. So be very careful. You have to be very cool around them. It's like, when you're in France, speak French. You have to know their language and you have to step out of your desire for communication and understanding and love and compassion and recognition. Step out. I'm not going there. I'm not going to, I was lived in the matrix for a long time and I kept trying to please these people that were impossible. Absolutely. You cannot please somebody in the matrix. Why? Because not pleasing them, showing you where they're not pleased with you, keeps you on edge, keeps you on the string. So you're angry and anxious and trying to please and trying to tolerate, and then you believe this, mime to mime. If you face water to water, face to face, if you just love them more and forgive them more and blah blah blah. No, that doesn't work in the matrix. All those sayings, all those memes don't work with people in the matrix. They work with people who want to connect, not control. I hope this is clear to everybody. Okay? If you're with somebody who's trying to control you, and those are the four ways to control through intimidation, fogs, fear, obligation, guilt, and shame. And it's so easy to shame us. You see little kids, poor little things, they've got the wrong shoes, or they don't have a fun costume, or they don't have, it's just so easy to shame people. Or, well, you're not in our circle. And they love excluding. They love making people feel like they're less than and inferior, and they're out of it. When you meet people outside of the matrix, you just feel safe. Your whole body calms down. It's such a delight to be with them. I had to get orthotics yesterday, and this man who did my orthotics, he was so careful and he explained what he was doing and why and how my feet were and how this and that and whatever. He was just such a heart person. And I went to a different person who did orthotics a year ago, and then I started having a lot of pain. I'm not going back to him because there was no heart there. There was just like a cold machine who was doing it. And then I went to this one and there was heart. So please validate yourself. How do you feel around this person? We have a gut reaction. It's no wonder I had suffered from Crohn's and colitis during my life because I've been surrounded by people who made themselves feel good by putting me down. Okay, that was my life. And I just heard a Chabad, the boy who was shot, Lazaroff. And if anybody is interested, write to me, Miriam Adahan 13. 13 is the gematria for love. Miriam Adahan 13 at gmail.com, and I'll send you the interview. Was beautiful. And he starts by saying, I was chosen to be shot by a terrorist. I was chosen. And I feel the same way about my life. Hashem chose me to be shot by these terrorists. They didn't look like terrorists. And the shooting was mainly emotional. Okay. Some physical, but mostly emotional. Emotional starvation. I was chosen. I want you to look at it like that. If you have a relative, it could be a sister, brother, parent, a child, somebody shooting at you, Oh, you listen to that, Roz? Ugh, I can't trust you anymore. And it's, oh my goodness. They live in such a narrow little box. And if you don't go along, you're out. Now, please feel what it's like to be with somebody that's not in that matrix mentality. It's matrix madness with everybody climbing on everybody else to see who's one up and who's one down, who's ostracized. I don't know if, if you're here, you're listening to me, it means you've suffered a lot from those matrix people, the ones who look so perfect. They always look perfect. They're always cool and confident. They don't have any problems. They're not real people. I mean, maybe they started off as real people, but as time goes on, having to perform and act perfect destroys their brain. And they get a hit of dopamine. The bullies get a real hit of dopamine, and there's lots of bullies. Now, there's two major things that bullies want to do to harm you, and why they use fogs to do it. They want you to hate yourself, that you're never good enough. You're not religious enough, not thin enough, not beautiful enough, not clean enough, not sane enough, not stable, but it could be 27,000 different things that you're not enough. And they make sure to tell you, or with their eyes, they let you know. So those are the matrix. And I'm just going to recognize it. And most people want to stay in the matrix. Only 20% got out of Mitzrayim. Moshe Rabbeinu himself couldn't bring the 80% out. And even the 20% that he brought out, they also had their problems. A lot of complainers there. Okay? So I hope this makes sense. I want you just to validate, even with little children, this person is safe. And when a safe person is, say, you can share your feelings, you can work things out, you can talk about your issues, you can process things. When you're with an unsafe person, you speak a different language. It's a language of silence. Everything's okay by me. No problems. And they'll keep shooting at you. They'll keep provoking and provoking and provoking until you react, and then they attack your reaction. You're never allowed, like Israel, you aren't allowed to defend yourself. And if you try, you're going to be vilified and demonized. Okay? So I hope this makes sense to you. There are either people in the matrix that are trying to climb up, or the people at the top who have already climbed up and they're already, they've got, I call them the poops. they're powerful owners of outrageous power, prestige, prosperity, popularity. And they love to make us feel horrible about ourselves. So they want us to hate ourselves. The other thing is they want us to adore them and worship them as if they're the gods. There is no God in the matrix. God doesn't exist there. They want to disconnect you from God, make you feel there is no God, or that God can't love you unless you have some intermediary that's going in between, and that you're not worthy of God's love. You don't deserve it because you're not perfect enough and you're not up on the matrix. Okay, so they want you to hate yourself, and they want you to hate God and feel there is no God.
Miriam,
Yes,
there are two questions that kind of pertain to what you've been talking about. The first one is, what if each couple think they're the controlling one? And the second, there might be a connection between answering both. What do you do if you're both being bullied and are a bully yourself?
Okay, so once you recognize that you want to stop, you can stop. And then you need my help to stop controlling people. Okay, so anger is a form of control. Anger gives us an illusion of control. Now, it's important to know that there are six basic emotions. They can be either controlling and negative, okay, or they can be protective and inspiring. Okay. So if you say, look, I feel you're trying to control me, okay, in a couple. I don't think I can handle your mother coming to live with us. And you can talk about it. Or you can talk about who's taking the trash out. The trash is a big issue. And the toothpaste and the socks under the bed. Can you talk about it? Okay. Now, when you talk to somebody outside the matrix and you say, I have an issue, okay, they say, oh, I didn't know it bothered you that I left my dishes in the sink. I didn't know it bothered you that I didn't take the trash. Oh my goodness. Okay. If they answer like that, out of the matrix, you can talk, you can process, you can work on it. But if they're in the matrix, why are you bringing this up? I always take the trash out, even if they never do. Okay. So you have to figure out who's in the matrix, who isn't. So if people say, wow, and we all try to control each other. That's just par for the course. We do try to control. We want to control how people see us. Okay. So I have a relative that thinks I'm much too dramatic and sensitive. I have another one who thinks I'm insensitive. I have one who thinks that I'm too religious and one who thinks I'm not religious enough. I have all these people. I would love to control their perception of me. I want to control their opinions. I can't. I can't control people's opinions, behavior, judgments, nothing. So if you're in a relationship and you can process, I think I'm controlling. I think, the best way to test this is to, at the end of each day, the couple should say, what could I do to be a better wife or a better husband? Is there anything I have done that hurt your feelings? Okay. If you can ask those two questions and get an honest answer, you're in a great relationship. Okay. And then you're not one of the bullies you control. We all try to control. Let's face it. Okay. So one of the things it's important to do is to recognize that anger is not bad. Hashem gave us anger. Okay. First of all, there's two kinds of anger. Very important to know. There's anger that's meant to control and intimidate and bully people. Okay. And there's anger that's really grief. Anger as grief. The anger is just the tip of the iceberg. What's underneath the tip of that iceberg is huge grief over the loss of connection. That's our basic need, our basic want. We all need to connect. We need to feel significant and valued and honored and validated by the people that are around us. And if they don't do that, what we experience is grief. And sometimes we don't want to feel the grief, so it comes out as anger. So check if your anger is because you can't control and you're trying to control somebody, or if your anger is just grief that there's no relationship. Huge grief. And I'm going to help everybody deal with that one, okay, with EFT. So I decided a few years ago that every person I meet, I would assume they're doing the best they can with the tools they have, and I don't want anything. Now, of course, I want everybody to love me and honor me and validate me and make me feel secure. I decided no more. To overcome my own anger, I had to say, Wherever anybody is on their own rung or wherever they're holding, that's where they're holding. I can't control it. I can just control my response. I can control my own, what I eat. I don't eat any junk food. I'm very just like I exercise it for an hour a day. Okay, that's what I can control. What I think, what I eat, what I say, and what I do. I stopped wanting anything from anybody. So I see that the people that are shooting at me, I've had a lot of emotional starvation in my life. They couldn't give anymore. If they could have, everybody gives whatever they have to give. Assume that. If they're not giving it, they don't have it to give. And you being angry and bashing them over the head with a sledgehammer is not going to wake them up or get them to give more. Sledgehammers don't work. Punishments don't work. We have to accept people where they are and where they're holding. And if they're inside the matrix, it's like being in jail. It's like being in an emotional and spiritual prison. They're in Mitzrayim. Even Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't succeed with 80%. We're not going to do better. So what do we do with the grief and the pain and the anger? Okay. So anger is meant to create connection. I'm upset that if you keep doing that, I won't be able to respect you or I can't trust you. Okay. Anger means I need trust. I need a relationship. I need a connection. So if we can't share that with the person that we're with, then it means we're dealing with somebody that's in the matrix and sledgehammers won't work and anger won't work. We just have to work on ourselves and calming ourselves down and knowing Hashem gives me everything I need from everybody. Dayenu. Okay. So I thought I have, how to recognize unsafe people. I can do that. And I want to teach everybody a little EFT because this helps me every single day with the people in my own life and to deal with my anger and disappointment and frustration because nobody is going to love us as we want to be loved. Sorry, everybody. That's a fact of life. Nobody can love us as we want to be loved. We're going to have to love ourselves. Yes.
Miriam, on the point of loving ourselves, a third question came about bullying with what if I think he is the bully and he thinks I am?
Maybe a therapist can help and maybe you can talk. Where do you feel? I think everybody feels bullied in marriage. Even they just say, it's too hot, it's too cold. Okay, there's dishes in the sink. You can say anything and people can feel choked. Why didn't you take the garbage out? Why didn't you check the brakes on the car? Why isn't there gas in the car? And then the person asking, first of all, don't ask why. Okay, that can make a person feel bullied. So I think everybody tends to feel a little bullied. So you have to make sure, please tell me if you feel choked, bullied, stifled, controlled. People like freedom. People love their freedom. So you can ask the person, I want to know if you feel that I'm overwhelming, that I'm, please tell me. That's an honest relationship. You cannot have an honest relationship. I'll give you a quick rundown and then we'll do some EFT to calm everybody down. You can't have an honest relationship with a person who lies. I never left my dishes in the sink. I always take the trash out, and that's a total lie. Okay. You can't have a relationship with a backstabber, somebody who talks about you behind your back. You can't have a relationship with somebody who's jealous of you. You can't have a relationship with somebody who's one-upping you all the time. Well, I have this sister whose house is so much cleaner and neater, and you're such a mess. Okay, they're just always one-upping. Oh, and you voted for Trump? And you read Mishpacha magazine? Whatever. Okay. People who gossip. The drama queens, drama kings, the explosive types who think it's perfectly fine to explode. And if you say, you know what it does to kids to have an explosive mother or father? They say, no, well, I just have to be the tough one because you're so lenient. Hello? Okay. People who use you, they only talk to you when they need something. The narcissist, okay, they have to have tons of attention and adoration, and everything is all about them. Forget having a relationship with these people. You're not going to. You can't talk about it even. The negative, grumpy, grouchy people. I put a sign on my door, my front door. When my kids were little, it said, walk in the house with a smile. I don't want to see a grumpy, grouchy face. It's deadly. And feelings are very contagious. Okay. So you don't want negative, grumpy, grouchy people. You don't want people manipulating you. You don't want to be around hypocrites, especially the religious ones who are like so holy, but oh no, I wouldn't have a cell phone. I wouldn't watch a computer, but they're always on their computer and always with their cell phones. Okay. People who put you down all the time. And you say, was that a put down? By the way, that's one of the things you can say. I'm sure you had no intention to hurt when you told me that I've gained a lot of weight or that the food is just disgusting. And they'll always find something. Your house isn't clean. No house is clean enough. And you're not exciting enough and you're not loving and doing it. You're never enough. Okay, they're always finding something to put you down for. People who just run away, they can't commit. The lazy one. A mother told me that her son only wears jogging pants because it's too much effort to have a pants with a zipper. I mean, oh well, that's very lazy. Okay. The blamer, the one who never takes any responsibility. Okay. The one who's always the victim, always with the self-pity, what a horrible life, nothing good, no gratitude. The reckless one, how they drive. Narcissists have a certain driving pattern. Okay. And the boundary breaker, you say, no, I do not want to spend 6 hours at the wedding. I can do an hour. But you're obligated, but then what do they think? And you'll insult them. But no, I don't want to waste 6 hours and come home at 3 or 4 in the morning. But they'll feel so offended. No. Okay. Don't push my boundaries. Don't force me to do anything. Okay. So whatever it is, these are people you're not going to get along with. And you're going to have to go into silent mode and you'll learn to be silent and to enjoy the solitude. And you'll be like Label Lazaroff, who said, I was chosen by God to be shot by a terrorist. And we've been chosen by God to be shot by various people in our lives. Okay, so what do we do with the grief and the anger? Ready? I'll tell you my secret. Okay, so by the way, if you see that you're controlling, I wrote a book called, here it is, Raising Spiritual Champs, Including Yourself, and how to get kids and yourself to do things, or your husband, how to get people to do things and be cooperative without the fogs, without fear, obligation, guilt, or shame, without screaming, criticizing, throw away the sledgehammer. So wherever I go and I see parents yelling at kids, I saw somebody on Shabbos. Okay, she was telling this 5-year-old, I've told you 5 times already to come down off that wall. So there were a bunch of 5-year-olds on a wall near the Beit Knesset. And it was a little dangerous. And the mother was rightfully scared. So I said, when you give a child an order like that, it's an ego injury to a male, even they're 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old. That's an ego injury to the male. Okay. So when it says, I told you 5 years, just come down. Anytime you say, some people tell me, I told my husband 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, or whatever, that you're using the wrong techniques. So I told the mother, tell your son, your baby brain down here is telling you not to listen to me and not to come down off the wall. But your smart brain is telling you, you know what? It's really dangerous up there. Which one am I going to listen to? And then the kid came down because he listened to his smart brain. That prevents the ego injuries. Para was all ego. That doctor was all ego. In the Matrix, it's all about, you can't fight with an ego because you're fighting with a mirage. It doesn't even exist. There's no relationship there. Who are you fighting? So wherever I go, I see parents say, I told you not to cross the street. Okay, just say, your baby's brain says, run in the street, don't listen to Abba, don't hold Abba's hand. But your smart brain says, hold Abba's hand because it's the street. And which one is going to win? It's the same thing with us. When you're angry, good. You're angry. It means you feel you've lost connection. Your boundaries aren't being respected. That's fine. You're in grief over the loss of your relationship. Now examine, is the person doing it intentionally? This is very important to know. Is it intentional? If it is, then they are in the dark triad category. Okay, you better go silent. Okay. Or are they just immature, or they don't know what to do, or I see parents screaming at their kids as if they, the keeper fell off and the kid is 2 years old, 3, whatever. No need to scream, no need to be angry. Just find a solution. Okay, now I'm going to just briefly, in the next few minutes, I want to teach you all how I calm myself down when I meet people in my own family that are inside the matrix and they're like caught by their own ego. Now, if it was that doctor, I'll never see him again. Fine, no big thing. I didn't even have to do this. But in my own family, sometimes it's very painful. So EFT is really, I love EFT because it's something I can do for myself. I don't have to leave the house. I don't have to go to a therapist. I don't have to go to an expert. EFT is like acupressure with your fingers. It calms the nervous system down. Now, we have two nervous systems. We have the nervous system that goes from the head down to the toes, and then we have a neurite system in the heart. A whole different nervous system in the heart. So people, they say, oh, my heart hurts. Now, you can know intellectually that Hashem wants you to be with a certain spouse who doesn't respect you or puts you down, whatever. But what about your heart? So EFT helps the heart. It helps regulate the heart and the brain, which can be very far apart. You can know, okay, Hashem meant this bullet to hit my son. Hashem meant my son to die. Hashem meant for this war. Hashem definitely meant for each of us to marry the people that we married. There's no question that Hashem wanted us to marry whoever we married. But the heart, what do you do with the heart? Okay, so EFT, I made it simple. I don't use all the EFT points that are used in traditional EFT. I use the karate chop point. Here, just try it. Think of the most aggravating person in your life. And on a scale of 0 to 10, how aggravating are they? Oh, be honest. You could be at 10, and let's see what happens. Okay. Even though this person is so aggravating and so disappointed and so frustrating to me, connecting, creating this emotional field with other people going through the same thing helps me create a magnetic healing field around me. Okay. And these are the points. It's the thick part of your eyebrow, the side of your eye where the indentation is, the bone under your eye, under your nose, under your lower lip. Okay, ready? So just tap on your karate chop point. When painful emotions and disturbing thoughts arise, I choose to let them flow through me like a river. And by the way, I'm happy to send this to anybody who wants to write in so you can, I practice this all the time. I hold space for myself as a compassionate witness to whatever I'm experiencing. Proud of myself for just acknowledging these feelings honestly and not trying to control or judge them. Oh, this disappointment, this anger and resentment. People can be so disappointing. Relationships are so frustrating, so painful. People can be so painful. I feel it in my head, my chest, my heart, my gut. This is how I experience the pain of all this hurt in my life, all this grief. I often feel so alone, so misunderstood, so unseen, so unappreciated. I often feel very dismissed, belittled, devalued. I often feel like I'm being starved emotionally. Emotional starvation is just as painful as physical starvation. And I'm here, right now, holding space for myself. Having the courage to just feel the hurt without judging it or trying to control it. Now take a breath in, deep breath in, add a little more, and then a long breath out. Do another one. Breath in, add a little more, and then a long breath out. This person. So aggravating. So much pain. I've been carrying this pain for a long time, maybe an entire lifetime. I long to be seen. I long to be valued and appreciated. I've been craving what might never come. And it's so painful. And now on your collarbone point, I take full responsibility for loving and accepting myself just as I am right here and right now, independent of what others think. Even if I can only do this 1%, that's fine. What a compliment that Hashem thinks I can handle this. Hashem thinks I can handle all these bullies and all these egos. Back up to the eyebrow point. When I feel overwhelmed, I can remember to breathe in and exhale slowly, being here for myself right here and right now. When the jealousy arises, I remind myself that I have everything I truly need. If I don't have it, Hashem knows I don't need it. When sadness arises, I acknowledge my grief and I breathe through it and tap through it. Each night as I fall asleep, I focus my attention on the many victories I had and all the little joys I experienced today. I focus on everything the hostages didn't have in those tunnels. I have water and food and a mattress. I have enough to eat and drink. I have an entire roll of toilet paper. I have tissues. I have a bed, a mattress, a pillow, blanket. I let go of everything not in my control. Right here, right now, I am enough. Even if nobody else thinks so, I'm enough. And I stay out of the matrix by generating the fabulous 5 from within myself. Now, if you want to know what the fabulous 5 are, it's very important. And you have to learn to generate it from inside yourself. I'm happy to help you all learn how to do that, because that's what I had to learn. When you generate the fabulous 5 within yourself, the dark forces can't touch you. You're untouchable. You're invulnerable. You're above it all. And you're able to watch the Matrix. You're actually able to watch all these people with their egos and their jockeying for position and they're performing. You're able to watch it, okay, from a different place. The fabulous 5, and these are the 5 things that people inside the Matrix cannot experience. So I will learn to generate the fabulous 5 from within myself. This is unconditional love for life as it is, unconditional love for myself as I am. And remember, 1% is fine at any moment. Unconditional joy, unconditional gratitude, unconditional faith that I'm always getting everything I truly need, and unconditional inner serenity. Take another little breath in, top it off, and then a long breath out. Ah. I have more, but I'm going to stop here. Now, are you still at the high level when you think about that obnoxious, aggravating person? Are you still at the high level where you were, or did it come down? Sometimes I don't even say anything. I just tap. Just, there she is again. Oh, there he is.
Miriam, Miriam, speaking of people and EFT, there's a question. What do you do if you're with a spouse that you know your is not right for you? Is EFT enough aside from therapy that isn't very effective? So speaking of
So,
EFT,
you know, Hashem knows who we need to marry. And if you're in the tunnels, and when I tell women or men, and when you're in the grip of somebody from the dark forces and you're in a marriage, it's like being in the tunnels in Gaza. The pain is unbelievable. Do not take them to therapy because they're only going to blame you. People in the matrix never take responsibility. And if you talk, they're just going to blame you more. So I needed to be in the tunnels for many years in my own life so that I can help people get out and start to reconstruct their identity and their sense of confidence and their sense of individuality and autonomy. So if you're in the tunnels with somebody shooting at you, Don't expect to be happy with people shooting at you verbally or with their eyes. Oh, they're not happy to see you. And they're shooting bullets from their eyes. When they do see you, you're not going to be happy with. But if that's what Hashem gave you, then I'm here to help you face it and deal with it and create a separate identity, to create a whole separate life and access the fabulous five whenever possible.
But the question on that point is how, if it,
Yeah.
but how does it get any better if you can't take them to therapy?
Therapy doesn't help them. That's a myth. They don't go to therapy, or they go to therapy just to schmutzify you and blame you more and to, to convince the therapist that you're the problem. Most marriage therapy, it has like 3% success rate. 97% of people who go to marriage therapy end up divorced. Okay, it doesn't, because schlepping people that don't want to go, it's like you could spend $70,000 a month on rehab, like that young man who killed his parents. $70,000 a month on rehab. He didn't want to be there. They don't take, people in the matrix don't take responsibility. They don't care what they do. Does Putin care about destroying Ukraine? Does Khomeini in Iran care about shooting protesters? They don't take responsibility. It's the protesters' fault. So if you protest, just protesting is an ego injury to somebody in the matrix. So I'm here. That's what I do with my life. I'm here to help people.
And on that point of helping, one last question, and then we're going to ask you to wrap up and summarize for us. What if they are the problem? Then what?
Hashem chose you and thought you could handle it. What can I say? I've been in the tunnels.
Do you have any summing up that you want to impart, like one little nikuda to take away?
Full responsibility for your own physical and emotional health, and stop trying to change people. Expect nothing. Not love, respect, consideration, understanding from anybody. Everybody gives what they can. If they're not giving it, they don't have it to give. It's like, it's like wanting more rain. I can pray for rain, but if there's no rain, there's no rain. And I'm not going to change a bicycle and turn it into a Mercedes, which is what all the therapists promise. You just love them enough, be enough of a cheerleader, and the shark will turn into a dolphin. That's hope dope. That's what all the therapists promise. Do not take a shark to therapy. They just get to be better sharks, and they use therapeutic language to then attack you even more. Sharks remain sharks.
I think that on that point, I will say that there's probably a world of sharks out there and plenty of business to keep them into perspective. But I can't thank you enough. This has been enlightening, and I love EFT anyway. So it's just having like the bonus of having the method. And everyone actually within, we hope to get out the recording by the end of the week, and so that people can replay and spend their time hearing the message that Dr. Annan.
That's how I just try to tap dance above it all. But anybody who wants this EFT, I'm happy to send it, and
it will be part of what she did tonight as part of the recording. So make sure you listen to the recording and spend the time with it. But it's always, the messages that you send are so penetrating. And so thank you for enlightening us with that matrix group to avoid. And it's really a big takeaway. It's a big image. And so thank you.
When I take my grandkids to outside, I say, these plants are poisonous. Don't touch them. And these plants you can touch. and they're good. We have to do the same thing with people. And in the
It's
first world, we have to love everybody. And no, no.
it's all about boundaries. And so,
Yes,
and that's essentially where we all have to be more cognizant.
toxic
And
people do exist, even though most rabbis and most therapists will deny that. The therapist will say, and the rabbis will say, their evil doesn't exist. The dark triad doesn't exist.
well, they do. They do. And that's why it was so enlightening to have you on this program, because people need to hear it and people need to be very aware
And
of
I'm
it.
vilified for
So,
saying this. I'm
and,
very
and,
much rejected for saying this.
but that's why you're on my program.
I'm not
But
popular.
to me, you are a blessing. And on that point, we really appreciate the fact that you took the time.
Thank you
And
for doing
this is a life's work. And thank you. And I also want to, before we lose people, because we're trying to keep for another minute, I just want to tell you about another exciting webinar that we have on February 10th. With Rabbi Dr. Yosef Lin, talking about self-care and proactive investment, 2 keys to a great marriage. And so save the date, and along with the recording, we hope to get out the invitation for you to register. And so that we hope you'll keep that date in mind, Tuesday, February 10th at the same time. And we have another request before you go. There's a 3-minute survey that's also part of the newsletter. And we'd love to hear what kind of programs you want. And we listen and we want to please. That's the resources that is our mission as a nonprofit. And connect with us, please. Follow us on YouTube, our YouTube channel, and our Times of Israel blog. I love blogging on Times of Israel. And our website is beautiful, and it has a lot of blogs and resources. And of course, we're on the normal social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, but connect with us. And we'd love to hear what is it will make you happy out there, and your wish is our command. So on that note, we want to thank everybody, and especially Dr. Adahan, because it's always a gift. So thank you for the gift of reality checking. So wait for your recording, and thank you all for taking the time to join and be with us. And we hope your takeaway is to really be on the lookout, but most of all, protect yourselves and take the wisdom to heart. So I wish you all a good day, good night, and thank you. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Adahan13@gmail if you want to connect and talk to me how to live in the tunnels, out of the tunnels, recover from being in the tunnels. That's what I'm here for.
And she's a gift. So thank you all. Thank you,
Thank you
for being part of our universe. So we wish everyone the best, and be happy and be mindful. So thank you all for being part of our nonprofit, and connect with us.